is going on, guys? We are wrapping up the first ever Aegean Theater of Conquest event. And this is the first event that we have had since the Navy has been introduced in Warpath. And so I wanted to make a video letting you guys know and catching you guys up to speed on what are the current most used, at least from my experience and that I've seen, most used Navy units. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back, guys. I hope everybody is doing wonderful. I hope life is going well for each and every one of you. And like I said in the intro of the video, we are wrapping up the first ever Aegean Theater of Conquest event. And now that I have gone through almost an entire Theater of Conquest event and seen how different Navy units have been used, and specifically which types of Navy units are being used by the majority of the players, at least in this particular Theater of Conquest event, which is the Epic Theater of Conquest event. I wanted to bring that information to you, and it may help in terms of which units you want to develop, which ones you want to stay away from, or it may not help at all, but again, this is just kind of my first take on what I've seen the most of. Before we get going though, if you get any value out of this video and you enjoy videos like this on the channel, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. All right, now let's go ahead, jump in and start talking about the units that I've seen used the most. All right, we are just going to start from the top here with the Martyr's camp, and we are going to work down to the Liberty and then the Vanguard camp. When it comes to the Martyr's camp, we all at this point, or at least most of us, if you've been around in the game for a while, know that the Martyr's camp with the Ground Force and Air Force is probably one of the least used camps for units in the game. But I think that may be changing with Navy. I have seen a ton of armored destroyers and a ton of submarines. I've seen the armored destroyers being used in almost the equivalent of a super heavy role. They're tanking the sea bases. And then the others, are attacking with like missile destroyers, things like that. And I've seen a ton of submarines, which actually surprised me. I did a previous video covering what I thought were going to be the most popular, and I was kind of undecided or undetermined on the submarine, but it seems to be one of the more popular units, especially for the Navy Fleet Army Group systems. I've seen a ton of submarine-specific Army groups going on. They're fast. They seem to do pretty decent damage, at least as of right now. So if that is kind of the objective or the play style that you're going for, if you are investing in Navy in any capacity, then I would say the submarines are probably going to be a good option for getting kills. They seem to be kind of the equivalent of the light tank. Now, when it comes to the Liberty camp, this is actually an interesting one. So yes, I have seen both. I have seen guided missile destroyers and I have seen aircraft carrier, but surprisingly, I have seen a lot less of the aircraft carriers than I originally thought I would. They are good for attacking other units for sure, but at least as of this stage of the game, which this may change over time because Navy is still very, very new to Warpath, not a lot of people, at least again from my experience so far in this first Aegean Theater of Conquest, not a lot of people have been actually doing a lot of Navy fighting in general. So I haven't seen too many aircraft carriers, but I have seen a lot of guided missile destroyers. That, coupled with the armored destroyer from the Martyr's camp, seem to be a really good combination for attacking bases, and the guided missile destroyer seems to do very well against other units too. The aircraft carrier is kind of designed more or less to be a field fighting unit, if you will, but it is very weak. So there is that issue. I don't know if I would call it an issue, but I am for the sake of the video. But I've seen a ton of guided missile destroyers, and that seems to be the most popular of the two Navy units from Camp Liberty. And then moving on to the Vanguard camp, honestly, I'm not saying they haven't been used, but at least from the Navy fights that I have watched, I have not personally seen a ton of the anti-aircraft destroyer or the anti-submarine frigates. I have heard, or I should say I have seen a few people talk about the anti-submarine frigate specifically, and they have said it does really do wonders against submarines, especially with all of the submarine fleet army groups that are roaming around. So the anti-submarine frigate seems to be a, more or less promising unit from the Vanguard camp, but I haven't seen it widely used, at least in the limited Navy battles that I have watched, and then I haven't really seen a ton of anti-aircraft destroyers either. But again, maybe it's just from the few times that I've watched, but that's kind of my first impressions, a first take on which units are being utilized the most so far. With that being said, I would love to turn the discussion over to you and see what you all are investing in, what you have seen utilized the most. Are there any of these units you are surprised haven't been used as much? Or are there any that you are surprised have been used more than you originally anticipated? I would love to get any feedback, thoughts, and opinions from you guys in the comments. As always, if you have stuck around and made it this far into the video, if you've got access to Discord and are not already in our community Discord server, the link to that is going to be in the description of the video below. Click on that link. It'll take you right into the community Discord server, whether you are a new player and have questions, want to learn some more, or if you're a veteran player and just want to come hang out, get to know more people in the community. It doesn't matter. Absolutely everybody is welcome. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch the video today, and we'll see you on the next one.